Hello, America. I'm Lauren Boebert, and these are my bullet points. What is it Democrats like to do? Spend, and spend some more of your money, that is. But the rush to spend $7+ trillion of your tax dollars and put America on a fast track to socialism is in danger of not passing. Who is Speaker Pelosi blaming? The Jihad Squad? Or maybe moderate Democrats? Republicans? Nope. She's blaming her pals in the media for not doing more to push her legislation. Just watch.
Well, I think you all could do a better job of selling it, to be very frank with you, because every time I come here, I go through the list. Family and medical leave, climate, the issues that are in there. But it is true, it is hard to break through when you have such a comprehensive package.
Now, I knew Democrats were in bed with the media, but the fact that the Speaker of the House is blaming them because Americans don't want the largest tax increase in American history is just hilarious. Maybe it's because Joe Biden, the leader of your party, is literally not working. Like he's actually ending his day at 10:45 a.m. Jesse Waters and I discussed. Take a listen. You know how many public appearances Sleepy Joe has had today to discuss the plan? 0. He had 0 appearances today and 0 yesterday and 0 the day before that. Jesse, I have the president's schedule for today. At 8:45, he had a virtual conference and then a briefing at 10:15, and then he called it a lid. Sadly, this year Senators Sinema and Manchin have acted more like Republicans than some Republicans have. I'm convinced that if these bills pass, it will be because rhino Republicans like Kinzinger and Cheney, the very ones that voted to impeach Trump, will cave and side with Democrats. Republicans are already helping the radical left pass their agenda. Just look at the way Turtle Mitch handed Schumer and Pelosi a new higher debt ceiling. Republicans who voted to increase the debt ceiling should be ashamed of themselves. My friend Ted Cruz went on the Senate floor to explain this situation. Take a look.
Republicans blinked. I think that was a mistake. I think that was the wrong decision. Now, I'll tell you the reason Republican leadership made that decision to blink was because Senate Democrats threatened to nuke the filibuster, to eliminate the filibuster. I don't know if that threat was real. I don't know if they would have carried through on it or not.
Even though the liberals would like you to believe conservatives are losing, we have the momentum. We are winning the message right now. Just look at the "Let's Go Brandon" chants breaking out at sporting events across the country. Just look at parents who the Biden regime calls domestic terrorists standing up across the country to push back against critical race theory and radical gender ideology being forced on our children. Right. This isn't just about gender. This is about the sexualization of our kids. Just look at the courageous Southwest airline pilots and flight attendants who stood up and are fighting back against medical tyranny. Brave pilots put their careers on the line and risked everything to stand for freedom. Over the weekend, Southwest Airlines canceled more than 2,000 flights, and the fake news media was quick to run cover, blaming the cancellations on the FAA and bad weather. But even Biden's own FAA denied this claim, saying that there was not even one air traffic control related cancellation over the weekend. Also, the so-called bad weather was non-existent. On Sunday, American Airlines and Spirit Airlines only canceled 2% of their flights. The only bad weather was the storming of Brandon chants all over America. And the only sickness? Well, that would be the freedom flu. Why is this regime pushing this mandate down our throats? This Southwest pilot said it best.
I've been an airline pilot for 18 years, and now I'm facing an ultimatum. Not a choice, but an ultimatum. I'm being told in order to continue my career as an airline pilot, I must be vaccinated, which really means I have to choose between putting food on the table for my family and my freedom of choice. Whether you believe in vaccination is the right thing to do or not, the situation goes far beyond health. We, the American people, have fought for freedom for 257 years. We go around the world spreading ideas of freedom and democracy. We help other countries and people fight for their freedoms, while ours are being stripped away. You may think being forced to wear a mask or get a vaccination is insignificant, but when you begin to compile mandate after mandate and loss of freedom after freedom, it becomes very significant. As each thing is taken away, we face what is known as the shifting baseline syndrome. This syndrome changes our idea of a new and acceptable normal. Soon, we will not remember what it was like to have the freedoms we once did. Our children and our grandchildren will experience less freedom, and they won't have the privilege or the pleasure to enjoy the same choices our parents had or that we have. If we give into these mandates and we do not stand up for our freedom of choice, we dishonor every armed service person over the last 257 years. If we do not stand together and fight back in one voice, soon we could be told where to live, what job we will do, what religion to believe, and how many children we can have.
The left keeps pushing mask mandates, vaccine mandates, and tyrannical COVID policies designed to enhance their power. That is why Democrats keep calling government overreach the new normal. If we do not stand together and push back on this tyranny, they will just keep taking our freedoms away until we have none left. This week, Jen Psaki accidentally admitted the truth. The COVID lockdown policies were never about the Wuhan flu. They were a direct and coordinated attack designed to fundamentally change our economy from the ground up.
The president wants to make fundamental change in our economy, and he feels coming out of the pandemic is exactly the time to do that. And if we don't do it now, if we don't address the cost of childcare, to go back to Josh's question earlier, if we don't address the climate crisis, if we don't ensure that universal pre-K is a reality now, we're not going to have the same opportunity to do it for some time.
If your representative was one of these squishes who voted to impeach President Trump, you need to call their office and make your voice heard. America cannot afford this massive Democrat spending splurge, and we certainly can't afford to grant amnesty to millions of illegal aliens who broke our laws to cross our southern border. We've talked about it before, but our southern border is in crisis. There is a complete invasion taking place at our border. Drug trafficking and human trafficking are hitting all-time highs month after month after month. We're seeing increased murderers and sexual assaulters crossing the border too. It appears Democrats can't find an immigrant they don't like. Well, at least that's what I thought until last weekend when I attended a Columbus Day celebration in Pueblo, Colorado. Over 100 folks and I gathered to celebrate the discovery of America. But sadly, protesters came out to heckle and disrupt our gathering. It turns out Democrats have found an immigrant they don't like, and his name is Christopher Columbus.
And when someone comes along to try to cancel these figures, remind them these colors don't run from bullies, cancel culture, or the radical left.
Columbus Day in Pueblo has been met with controversy for years, as many people urge the city to remove the Christopher Columbus statue.
It's not progressive enough. It should be more progressive.
These folks really don't know how silly they look. Columbus wasn't perfect, but don't forget, these are the same people turning a blind eye to the rape trees at our southern border with women's undergarments hung from them as trophies. We celebrate our heroes of our past because of how they helped us get where we are today. The most powerful, greatest force for good on the face of the earth. That's where we're at. American exceptionalism is real, and I'm darn proud to stand for Old Glory. America has brought more people out of poverty than any country in world history. And we've been a force for what is good and right for generations. America fought back communism and still is. We stood in the gap against terrorists. We have been there for our neighbors and people across the world when tragedy has struck. Think of Haiti, Japan, Indonesia, and so many others who have had natural disasters. And it was the generosity and kindness of the American people that was there to help. In the pursuit of a more perfect union, we fought slavery, empowered women, won World War II, unleashed the genius and hard work of entrepreneurs, and created the greatest cultural environment for art and creativity in the world. We are truly an exceptional nation because of our people, past and present. At a naturalization ceremony that I attended in Grand Junction, Colorado, I saw 38 new Americans who counted the cost and went through the naturalization process with pride and dignity. As they were sworn in as new Americans, each of them held the American flag with tears streaming down their face. They all knew that they could contribute to our communities to make this a more perfect union. And they recognized that that flag that they held firmly was the universal symbol for liberty and justice for all. And remember, don't ever be ashamed to be an American. Stand up for your rights, even if it costs you something, even if it costs you everything. And remember, the only time your bank account is in more danger than when you're in a Target is when Congress is in session. I'm Lauren Boebert, and these are my bullet points.